Well, hello, my darlings. This is Jax, and welcome back to the Just Jax podcast. Or if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I do have to say, if you are new here, this episode has springboarded from episode 14 because during my sessions with Brenda Johnston, the subconscious mindset transformationalist, that's what I call her. I received a miracle, one that took 50 years in the making. Now, you may think that it could be money or it could be some kind of promotion or something of great value, but actually, what it is a crocheted dog. Yes, one that has been handmade and crocheted. Now, let's get into why this little crochet dog is so important. Well, hello, darling, and welcome to the Just Jax podcast. Hi, I'm Jax, and I help you find the can in your cat. When we challenge our cats, miracles happen, because when I challenged mine of I can't draw, I can't paint, and I can't color, imagine my surprise when I discovered what I can do is create a 21-foot garden mural that was recently featured not once but twice on the front page of our local newspaper. Next up, I challenge the I'm no author, no artist, and no cursive writing specialist, but what I can do is self-publish 3 books for my kick-ass cursive writing curriculum, Crack the Cursive Code. I'm a jack of all trades, but what I master in is helping ordinary people like me to do extraordinary things through laughter, tears, life-changing stories, because metaphors are my jam. Together we can find the can in your can'ts, the do's in your don'ts, and the wills in your won'ts. I'm so excited for you. Let's go. It's amazing how the events in our lives can really impact who we are and how important they can be, because the event itself is simple, but the takeaways from it are just something else. I'm going to tell you about why this one was so important and how it taught me to be afraid of owning nice things. I've carried a cloud over my head in regards to having nice things, and there's been a big block about that because nice things tend to get destroyed around me. And this one traumatic experience that gave me that hesitation, that uh, disability in regards to wanting nice things or desiring nice things, because I have had continuous experiences. Get a new car, it gets scratched. I had a beautiful monitor, this Hue monitor that I do my work with, and it fell over, and I had to have this very special rock on my desk. And of course, rocks and glass tend to rub each other the wrong way. So now my beautiful kick-ass 32-inch wide monitor now has this lovely scratch on it, and I have been a scratch and dent girl for most of my life, and I could probably pin back that experience from this one crocheted dog. So set the stage. I go to a school that is run by nuns. This is back in, if I'm doing my mathematics right, it's back in the 70s. We have a school that has teas, and these teas were like a bake sale. They had handmade items. They had people selling knick-knack paddywhacks. It was a way to raise funds for the school. It was a good fundraiser. And so all of our classrooms were transformed into these little mini markets. And it was just unbelievable what these women went through to raise money for the school, and they were very successful. The one little caveat in that made it very more fascinating for me is that this was a church school, and the church was very heavily affiliated with it, and there was a women's league, and my mother was the president of the Ukrainian Catholic Women's League, the UCWL, and she was a president, I believe, for multiple years. and she was the one running the tea. She even made the little, uh, what do you call those things? The little sandwiches, those little petitfours. What do you call those? She did cucumber sandwiches and the ribbon sandwiches. And I remember watching her make them and helping her make them, some of them, because she had to have them perfect. So having a 7 or 8 year old help could be beneficial and disastrous. Flip your coin and they could both happen at the at the same time. But so she was in charge of all of that, and I went through and looked through everything because first of all it was exciting for a little while, and then it was boring because she was the one that had to run around and do everything as well. Well, I went through and I saw this crocheted dog, and it began my love of basset hounds and dash hounds, and I fell in love with that dog. And I begged my mom. This was also another mindset that got put into it, that in order for me to have nice things, there's a lot of hard work, but hard work that felt bad, that I had to beg and beg and beg. And unbeknownst to me as a child, my mom was going through some very serious financial situations. My dad made things very difficult for her to maintain a good financial situation in our home. And so I never understood how much money how much I had no context of what this animal actually cost. And in some ways, it could have been a lot of money, and in some ways, it could have been very little. I had no idea. All I know is that I wanted the fucking thing. And there are two times in my life that I begged my mother for something, and this was one of them. And by the end of the tea, I was able to take this little dog home, and I absolutely loved it. It had a place of honor on my bed, and it was my best friend, which was counterintuitive to some degree because I actually had a dog at home. My mother was obsessed. Actually, past tense is inaccurate. My mother is obsessed with pugs. They are her favorite dog. She absolutely loves them. And I had one at home currently, but it was the newer one. We had one. It was the most fantastic little beast. It was my best friend. It went with me everywhere. It saved my life. It pushed me out of the way when a car was coming and it got hit, his leg broken. He was my pal. Well, unfortunately, he died and we got this new one. And this new one was a pain in the fucking ass. And a terrorist. I never liked this one very much, and I think that's part of the angst in regards to what happened here. So, this new dog was a puppy, and puppies like to chew. And yes, yes, you are piecing together the catastrophe of a crocheted animal and a pup. I went to school on a normal day, any day that it could be, and I come home and we can't find the puppy anywhere. And we're calling for him, and all we hear is squealing and crying upstairs. And I was pretty sure in my 7 or 8 year old reasoning that there was no way that dog could get up on my bed because it was a pretty high bed. It was kind of like I wouldn't call it a princess bed necessarily, but it felt like one to a degree because it was so high off the ground. And it'd be kind of cool to see the actual bed now in perspective from an adult. But it was a magical room when I grew up. Even though there were some disappointments in there. But thinking back now, my room was pretty cool, and so I thought that the the dog was safe up there. But lo and behold, as I was going up the stairs, my heart and was just pounding, and the my tears were coming to my eyes because no, 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 any other bed. He could be on my brother's bed. He could be on any other bed, mom's bed, but it can't be on my bed because I had named that crochet dog, and that dog's name was Danville, and Danville was my dream dog. I just loved him, and when I came onto my bed, lo and behold, that little bastard was up there, and he was just so happy to see me. And I took one glance at Danville, and it seemed fine for when first glance, and I got the puppy down and he ran downstairs, and of course we had to take him outside and blah blah blah. But I went to inspect Danville, and what had happened is the puppy had taken the nose and sucked the living shit out of it. It was his pacifier, and it looked like the dog was Pinocchio. And when I when I looked at the nose, it was all sucked out of shape, and I was just mortified. I just started to cry. I was so upset because it's like, I finally have something that's fucking mine. It's just mine, mine, mine. It's just mine. And the dog destroyed it. Now, I have no idea what crack was in that crocheted animal, but that dog claimed it as his own. I tried to keep it and dry it, and I thought it's gonna be okay, and he got up on the bed again and sucked the living shit out of it. I finally gave it to the dog because it was damaged. He got had that Danville for as long as he lived, and it had to be sewn and resewn quite a few times. He loved it more than I did, but it anchored for me that if you like something, someone's gonna take it away from you. And it fucked with me, man. And the part that really was traumatic about that is that my mother thought it was the most hilarious thing on the planet. It is one of those things that if you think on it every time and it still makes you gut laugh, it did that for her. There were countless times since that incident happened till last fall when I finally went to see Brenda, that she brought it up continuously. If there a basset hound came on TV or anything to do with a dog or anything was striker funny, she would bring it up and just kill herself laughing about it because it struck her so funny. And it didn't matter how many times I told her; she just laughed on how upset I got because it still made me quite upset. So I am now seeing Brenda Johnston. It is just after that future self meditation where I just lost my shit. I was so mad. I get this box in the mail and I'm like, what the hell is that? And it has my mother's handwriting on it. And I'm telling you, sometimes what to expect is very unexpected. And I'm thinking, okay. And I open the box and it's this cute little crocheted dog. I'll show a picture of it in my marketing when you see the episode come out on my Facebook and Instagram. But he is so freaking cute. My mother went through quite a few people to try and find someone who would crochet a dog. Now, in my childhood memory, does it look exactly like a dog? No. No, it does not, but it's super, super cute and it healed the wound. Now I have a new Danville and he's precious and no dog can take this away from me. And the old dog can keep that one and keep the story and it got healed. My mother has always had this very strange psychic ability and it would have been really interesting to see what kind of relationship we could have had if both of us would have been a little more put together and a lot less broken because there are some really cool things about my mom. And unfortunately, her brokenness keeps them away from me. And this is one of those things where she could use her power for good. I can do things like that. I have bought her gifts that have been on her Amazon wish list, and I had no idea. I have that gift, and she used it in a way to heal the wound. And for that, I will be forever grateful. Now, I have mentioned before, I believe, and if not, we're going to talk about it today. One of the very first concepts that I learned on my healing journey. And this is a very simple concept, but it's very complicated because in order to have an awareness of this, you have to have awareness to begin with of yourself and be willing to see the dark sides of yourself and the things that you do that you hate in others. Because there are a lot of philosophies out there that believe that what you see outside is only a reflection of who you are. So if you see the negative in the world, it's because in some way, shape, or form, you believe the same as the person that's there. And the only difference is that number one, the context is different. And number two, you have your justifications just like the person has theirs. Now, your justifications could be completely different, but the end result could still be very similar. And it I was just talking to my son the last time we had a chat that there are a lot of things about my mom that are similar. Like I have readers, though you have some of them are a little bit more expensive, some of them are from the dollar store, but I have quite the collection. I'd say I probably have maybe 8 pairs because I have one for everywhere I need one. I have one in every room. I might have even two in these rooms because I have one at this desk and I have one at the other desk so that when I need them, they're here because I only use them when I read. So I could have them around my neck and carry them around with me, but no, I just I like the convenience of that. And my mother has that. Now she has it to the extreme in some cases, but she still has that. So I can accept the fact that there are things that I am like her in. Now, whether she's a little bit more extreme or a little less on the other, I'm still on the same path. I still have the same behavior. My justifications are different than hers, but the end result, if people were looking on the outside, they would have a hard time finding the difference. And that is what the key is because my justification is different. Here's how the mirroring comes in this situation. I have had a streak where sometimes when people hurt themselves, it is funny. And that is a very dangerous line to walk on because depending on the person who is getting hurt at the time, it may look funny, but it certainly there was no funny business for them. It either cost them time, money, or pain. And there are a lot of those videos where people hurt themselves that I really have the feelings of the person getting hurt. And sometimes they strike me funny and sometimes they don't. It depends. I would rather it be an innocent thing and look funny than a real thing that hurts someone. Although, see, I just realized that was a complete hypocrite. My son and I share very funny videos. I've seen them all over on mostly Instagram or TikTok. And what they are is these people running straight into something like a window or they walk into a rake and the handle comes and smacks you in the face. And then they have where all you see is the eyes and the mouth over something else. And it's just like, Jacqueline, Uh, it's Cincinnati Bears linebacker. And if you don't watch football, you would have totally no context of what I'm talking about. If you ever watch a football game, they introduce the lineup of the players that are going to be playing the game. And what the player does, say their name and they say the school that they're from. And that's exactly what these eyes and mouth do is that it's almost as if that pole or that wall or whatever caused that calamity to that person was taking credit as a football player, and they're funny as hell. So again, see how I just contradict myself. So if something strikes me funny at the expense of someone else, that is no different than my mother and the dog, because to her, it was just ironic on how a dog hurt me by taking my dog when I had a dog. And something about my reaction just struck her super, super funny. I was on quite a high horse about how she could be such a bitch about this when it clearly hurt my feelings. And every time I exclaimed my feelings to her, she thought it made it even funnier. The next day, I went into my bathroom and opened my cabinet. And at that moment, my cat was staring back at me. I had put a chair there to get to the top of the cabinet because the cabinets can go quite high. And she had taken that opportunity to do what cats do and explore the cabinet. And it reminded me that my mother was scared to death, like a real scare, by the exact same thing because my cat was in the cabinet and she had opened it unexpectedly and the cat was there, and it scared the living shit right out of her. And so, you know what I did? I decided that I was going to do something fun. I took a picture of the cat in the cabinet and I sent it to my mother right away. And she gave me that "Ah, bah, 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 bah," kind of response that I was giving to her about the dog. The miracle wasn't even 24 hours old, and I did to her exactly what she did to me. And I can hear the voices in my head going, you know what she's done to you for how many years? You know, it's about time you paid her back. And I'm like, well, you know, that there is some there is some truth to that, because we have what 50 years versus once. But then I sat there, I went, well, is that the energy and who I want to be? So let's chat about this mirroring concept, because a lot of different philosophies and religions, they all say basically the same thing, and that is that you the word project means is that you see how you interpret your perspective of people and situations and their traits, emotions, and beliefs onto others. And the thing is, though, is that what you see in others of how great they are and some of the things that they do great and what you admire, you actually have very similar traits in yourself, that you are riddled with self doubt or you have limiting beliefs about yourself that tell you who and what you are and what you can and cannot be. That's an also very sobering thing. So the bad you see in others is your own bad, stinking thinking, and how you perceive things, how you perceive the world towards yourself, how you are, how strong you are, how weak you are, how smart you are, how loved you are, how unloved you are, how wanted. All those things are all basically on your little perceptions and your little puzzle pieces that you've picked up all along the way. And to see that in my mom, that she was this bitch that just constantly hurt my feelings over something. Why did I have to hang on to that for so long? Why did it take her to give me a gift in order to just let that go? Instead of seeing it as something that she was wounding me with, it could have been actually something that we enjoyed and had a good laugh together over. But instead, I made it into something that could wound me over and over and over again. Now, I am very thankful that she listened to her heart and sent me this little dog, because it did send me on the healing journey and helped me get over it. This is a gentleman at work. He has a saying. He goes, "Get him to build a bridge." I'm like, "What do you mean, get him to build a bridge?" "Well, get him to build a bridge so they can get over it." I'm like, uh, but I guess the first thing I would say, and if I would have a little takeaway from you, and this was the very beginning of my healing journey, is to remind yourself that it's okay to have traits about yourself that you don't like, because nobody is perfect. The thing that helps is that when you see these things and you can see them in yourself, you're like, well, you know, you at least then have the power to do something different and handle them. The unfortunate thing is that this little dog was a doorway to my communication with my mom, and it was better is a strong word. It was present. She would send me little things to try and connect over, and it was quite nice that she would send things that she liked mostly, and she sent things that she thought I would like, and she was correct. And there was, because I am her daughter, we do have similar things. And it's unfortunate that I set a boundary with her, as with all people lately in my past that I have set boundaries with, they have stopped talking to me and there becomes distance. And I would really like to have an experience where I set a boundary and it's taken, that people are happy to like, no problem. No. But just why is it that it creates separation? When I ask for something from myself, I lose them. And if they're the type of people that need to be lost, then that's why the boundary is there. And I understand that. But there's been some really long standing relationships that I've put boundaries up with. And when I do that, I get crickets. And this isolation has been difficult at times, because I would like to belong. It's been a battle for me to find where I belong, and now I find that I belong everywhere. That I went to a 4th of July party yesterday, I got to see personal fireworks for the first time, and these people spent over $2,000 on fireworks, and it was something to behold. I thought it was just fantastic. It went for, I'd say, about 3 hours. There was a whole bunch of little ones, and the tradition of setting fireworks is so ingrained in this family. Like, there was a third generation. There was I'd say he was 6 or 7-year-old boy there, and the father was teaching him how to respect the craft, how to work around it, how to take care of it, how to light them, position himself, everything like that. And I thought that was pretty cool to see a father take the time to teach his child to be safe so that they could enjoy this spectacular event. I'd always gone to public fireworks, one where you go somewhere to watch other people set them off, not where they're set off right in front of you, like 12 feet in front of you. And it was just fantastic. Just fantastic. And while I was there, when the fireworks were going off, there were some young people there. And I made me realize that the age group between 18 and 25 really vibe with me. And I've had that happen in the past. But both of the young ladies that were there just told me that they love me and they have to have me in their life for the rest of their life. And it's interesting that my story and the way that I look at things, like what happened with this little dog, can impact people like that. And I realize that I'm here. I'm here to share a message. I'm here to talk to you, and I'm here to help. And the takeaway from this episode is it's okay to it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to have hurt people and yourself. And that's where the ho'oponopono comes for me on a daily basis. I'm sorry because there are many things that I need to apologize to myself for. And I can apologize to other people, and I can send out the energy of remorse to someone and hope that eventually it gets there without necessarily having to do a face to face number 4 on the 12-step program, making amends. I can start the process by sending them love and forgiveness and remorse from here, and especially to myself. And that's where the I'm sorry, please forgive me, because I have held this against myself for how long? And I have carried it even into this year because I found this beautiful crystal. They take all these different types of glass and ceramics, and they make these beautiful fountain type towers out of them. And I have 2 of them that were absolutely beautiful. And this asshole neighbor cat thinks that they're for him to sit on, and he has broken. I watched him. I sat there and I watched him, and I did exactly what I told myself never to do and moved toward him. I should have just sat there and let him be a cat, but I moved toward him and he launched off and he broke my fountain. And I was so angry because it was the dog all over again, something I absolutely loved, something I absolutely adored, and he broke it. And it's sitting broken on my kitchen table right now, which is basically is a plant garden. It's sitting there against my plants on my kitchen table, ready to get fixed because, again, I had something that I absolutely delighted in, and it got destroyed by another animal that we're supposed to just love and adore. And right now, I'm actually feeding his ass because his mom's in Mexico, I think. And I'm taking care of the little shit. And he destroyed my priceless, precious thing. So there is still some work to be done. We did some work with Brenda on that it's safe for me to have nice things. I'm the type of person that can have nice things, and even being able to say that to you tells you the credit of her ability and her work. So do check her out at brenda-johnston.com. There's a T in there. Put the T in the Johnson, please. I'm sure she's had a lot of play on fun like that. So I have a little exercise for you to help you with the mirroring concept. And it's a humbling one, and it has to do with road rage. And I was given a fantastic piece of advice by someone that helped me reduce my road rage by understanding and giving the person the benefit of the doubt. And this has helped me when I see someone driving like an idiot, because there have been many times in my career as a driver that I have done idiotic things. Now, I am a very good driver and have a reputation for being a speed demon and such. So I have driven at high speeds. I have driven erratically. I have done many different things. I have been some of those people that you see on the road. Now, did I always have a good reason for that? Most of the time it was because I was late and I made the adjustment that if I left within the right amount of time, I would get there on time, or I just accepted the fact that I was going to be late and I would have to work around that or deal with the consequences, and my road rage disappeared. But here's an example. Yesterday, we were driving, my husband and I were going down to pick up a Facebook Marketplace purchase, and there was a situation where he had to pass someone, and it had a good pucker power part there, but he was going to back off, but he has a little sports car. And I said, well, you better pass him. And he gunned it and he did exactly what I said. But when someone else does that, they're an asshole and he has to honk. But the context, the action looked exactly the same. But the difference is that he was the one driving. He was the one that was listening to someone else. So he could have blamed me if he wanted to, if he wants to take the victim route. But on the outside, it looks exactly the same. The only difference is that he knew the context. So here's where the rubber meets the road, because there's going to be times coming up here where someone's going to piss you right off. They could cut you off or do something erratic or be ridiculous, just like what my husband did with the car. And you could very easily judge that person and get all riled up. Or you could take a moment, step back, and maybe when you do something stupid, put it in a little pocket in the back there of your mind to remind yourself to give somebody else a little grace. How many times have you done something where you actually either miraculously nothing bad happened, or even with an extra bonus, nobody saw that happen, and the secret dies with you? There are many, many times that we have accidentally, or even when you have done something intentionally and it turns out and nobody knows that you did it or that you were involved in it or anything like that. We all carry stuff like that. I have cut people off. I have interrupted people. I have offended people. I have done multiple different things. Now, and it's just part about being human. So when it gets back done to me, if you dish it, you better fucking take it. And realize that they want the same thing and have the end result, only they're doing it in a different fashion. So that's how it's like, oh, well, I would have done it differently. Well, you still just said, I would have done it. You just added the differently afterwards. And maybe, just maybe, we can start cutting each other a little slack. For us control freaks like there, I can fucking control me. Well, put a bag of potato chips or Cheetos in front of me. That might be a different story. Although that has kind of changed a little bit in regards to my Cheetos. I've walked by them quite a few times and could have something to do with the fact that I ate a party-sized Cheetos bag in one day, a party size, not the individual size, not the normal size, not the next size, but the biggest fucking bag you can get of them without going to Costco. I ate that in one day and I made myself sick. And you know what? All I threw up was orange goo. That was it. And since then, have I had some since then? Well, of course I've had some since then, because that clearly wasn't bad enough. But I have now a gag reflex when I eat. I had a small bag of it and it was like, oh, that could be the limit. I feel like my my Cheeto days could be numbered. But it comes from the self-awareness, it comes from the curiosity, it comes from the ability to take all the ways that you've learned to shame yourself and hate yourself and tell yourself bad things, to allow yourself to be having traits that are unsavory and just taking a look at them and see what you can do to treat them or just put them on for in case of emergency only. I have some badass bitch tendencies and a cold-hearted stuff. And you know what? Sometimes in time and place, that's exactly what's needed. And I'm going to put her back on there, and she's by special invitation only. But when I need her, she's there. And that's a way to maybe put it in your mind so that you can look at these parts of yourself that could be considered unsavory or dark or shadow or whatever you want to call them, but they're necessary because there's all a spectrum from the lightest of light to the darkest of dark, and we carry very different shades of that. And there is a time and place. Like you could think yourself as being a horrible like, oh, these people that are horrible killers because they kill humans. But I have a bug that lands on me, and that sucker is dead squished, and oh my God, I can't make it dead fast enough. But because I put it towards a bug that it bothers me and it's justified, we have a rule that's okay. But it's the same action that goes against someone else when they do it towards a human. Am I condoning doing it towards a human? No. But there are some times when how we root for people that die on TV from the safety of our armchairs. It's just, what's out there is in there, and what's in there is out there. We're just a reflection of everything, but it all starts with us. And if I can give you any hope, it sounds a little overwhelming and it can become a little bit damning on yourself. But if you look at it with just curiosity and no judgment, that judgment comes from somewhere else. And that judgment is also someone else's shit. If you can just look at it and look and go, okay, so I have some bad stuff. Is it bad or is it just darker than the other? Because time and place, baby. There may be coming a time and place in the future where that exact trait may be needed. And it needs to be, celebrated's a lot, is a strong word, but it needs to give the respect that it needs because it's a part of you and it's necessary. But is it from a place where you can love that part of yourself? That's where it comes in. Because for me, that strong, badass bitch, yeah, I love her. And when I need her, again, by special invitation only. And do not only break glass and in case of emergency, that type of person. But I can love her and keep her back there and have her when it's necessary. Next week, speaking of special guests, next week we have another special guest, and this one, she is as high up in the clinically trained hypnosis ladder that you can get. She is board certified. She's also an instructor as well as a practitioner. We both got the same material, just different teachers. She went to the originator of the material, and I went to one of his prized proteges, students. But she has transformed her life. She went for something to be on the cover of Christian Today. It was a very wholesome, lovely looking woman to someone that now has a pixie cut that is sometimes blue. It changes quite often. She has become quite the advocate and quite vocal on some current political topics. Now she has really transformed herself, found her voice, and she is all about being dangerously confident as walking the line of being exactly the confident person you are without any arrogance. And that is her mission in life. And that is what she wants, or the people who work with her. And so we're going to have a fun time having a conversation with her next week. And you'll learn all about her type of hypnosis and what it can do to help. And after that, we will have our 7 adoptonauts, and those are like not loved, not wanted, not seen, not heard, etc. And the reason I call them adoptonauts is because they were never meant for us in the first place, but we adopt them. And when we adopt someone, if the adoption goes the way it's meant to go, we actually make it as they're part of the family, and you'd never know that they never belonged to us in the first place. And that's what we do with these poisonous thoughts that we adopt from our environment, and they poison our souls. And the nice thing about them is that we can actually give these ones back and heal ourselves in the process. So I'm looking forward to them, and there's 7 of them. So there's going to be 7 of those coming up here in the future. The reason that I call it adoptonauts is I like Oxford's version of it is to choose to take up, follow, or use. And this is what the adoption process is towards these negative thoughts and takeaways about ourselves. Because we choose to take up, follow, or use something that is absolute bullshit. Because if it was truly ours, we would feel really good. It would empower us. It would give us the strength we need to encounter new opportunities and triumphs and successes and such. It sounds a little Pollyanna, but when you're in the zone and you knew that you're in the flow for yourself, that magic in that moment that you feel is when you know that something is yours. If you're suffering about something right now, it's because you've adopted it from someone else. If it's a true adoption, it's adopted, adapted, and assimilated. And then it becomes part of you to the point where you have no idea where it starts and where it ends. And you can actually believe that it's something that is yours. But I'm telling you, you can tell by the signs. And you can tell by how your life is. If it's poisoning you, then it's someone else's and you've just adopted it. And that's why we're going through the 7 of them and figuring out which one did you adopt? And what the great thing and the good news and the hope is because if it's adopted, you can give it back. But in the meantime, I just want to thank you for spending your time with me. And if you want to reach out to me, you can check out my Facebook or Instagram, or you can send me a line at justjackspodcast@gmail.com. I have some exciting things coming up in my cursive world. I'm creating a Crack the Cursive code, no pen or paper required, neurosmart body-based cursive handwriting program. And I am just in the process of talking all about that, and that's going to be fun. You can also, I just sold one of my sweatshirts the other day. You can also find my loser merch, which is in episode 12, where you find out that we all are losers when we live out someone else's reality. That's what loser stands for. And you can find the loser merch, the shift. I'm going to be talking about that coming up pretty quick, as well as my forthwith. I'll talk about that one too. You can find it all at my website, crackthecursivecode.com, where all my cursive stuff is. Also, my cursive books are all on Amazon as well as online Barnes and Noble, and you can pick them up there if you want to. But the PDFs are on my crackthecursivecode.com. And that's all there is. Again, thanks for spending your time with me. I hope some of your shit got turned into fertilizer with this story. And love ya. Jack's out.